Welcome back to Orange Hat Reviews, everyone. And I gotta say, the news that I've been hearing over the last couple days, today and yesterday and whatnot, I just had to do a video on it. Because, and I knew it would be from We Got This Covered, that would be the most disrespectful about it. So we're going to cover this article from We Got This Covered. Captain Marvel named as the most mistake-filled movie of 2019. Now let's get into this. They get really freaking rude to people, but I'm going to basically blast right back. As if the trolls of the internet, right there, trolls, needed any more reason to pile on Captain Marvel. It's just been announced that the superhero flick, well, I wouldn't really call it a superhero. I'd call it a supervillain. I mean, she does torture a guy in a deleted scene for no reason. Is the most mistake-filled film of 2019. The movie finished a distant first with 59 mistakes, thus making it making it the undesirable champion of cinematic errors for this year. A Brie Larson-led film came well ahead of Avengers Endgame and Midsummer, which finished second and third with 51 and 45 errors, respectively. So, yeah, Avengers Endgame and Captain Marvel, top two, non-respectively, mistake-filled movies of 2019. A lot of the blunders stemmed from the pic's inability to remain in the time period it was supposed to be set in. For example, characters could be seen using a version of Windows and playing a version of Street Fighter that both hadn't been released in 1995. There were also movies visible inside Blockbuster that hadn't hit theaters yet, and songbooks in the background that wouldn't be published for another decade. Well, snap. Wow. The kind of harmless nitpicking is only good fun, of course, but there's a chance that those who hate the film can use this calculation to further deride the unpopular superhero. Here's the thing, folks. I didn't like it. I wouldn't say I hated Captain Marvel, but I didn't like it. It wasn't a good movie. It was agenda-based, and I'm anti-agenda when it comes to movies. Larson is often the subject of a lot of vitriol from online, or people online who want her franchise to fail. Okay, that's where I take issue. Screen Rant, you're full of shit. You're fake news. You want to know why? I didn't want the MCU to fail. I had no problem with Disney until 2019. Until the marketing for Captain Marvel and that crap movie that was called Endgame. I wanted to see Endgame and I wanted it to do well. I wanted Captain Marvel to do well originally until I saw the marketing. Then I did want it to fail because I didn't want that crap in the MCU. It poisoned the MCU. It divided the MCU. It made people not want to see MCU movies in the future. Excuse me, I just had a bubble in my throat. So yeah, you're full of crap. I wanted the MCU to be very successful, but then they had to put agenda in front of story when they were doing very well without it. But let's continue. Jeez. Franchise to fail. She frequently has been the target of petitions urging Marvel to replace her, along with disparaging fan edits and nasty YouTube comments. Now, this latest report could just add more fuel to the fire. Oh, please. Maybe if they had made a good movie, maybe if they hadn't bashed men, maybe if they hadn't pushed a feminist or a third wave feminist narrative, people wouldn't have had an issue with this movie. I had no problem that it was a female-led superhero movie. I'm not sexist. What my issue was that they had to bash men in order to somewhat build up a character. In my opinion, when you bash men to build up a character, you're not building up a character. You're freaking saying that men are useless pieces of shit and women are just mediocre, so we're going to pile up the men so she can stand on top of them and pretend to be built up. That's what they did. That is what they did. The biker community, the motorcycle community, actually came out and said, we kind of resent what Captain Marvel made bikers look like in the 90s. I'm friends with bikers, and I know for a fact that they treat women with a lot of respect. Believe me, I know dozens, if not a few hundred bikers. My own family member has bikers, and those guys treat women with the utmost respect. I have friends who are YouTubers, who are motorcycle riders. They treat women with utmost respect. They never did the whole, hey, how about a smile? And stuff like that. That's bullshit. That's pushing a false narrative. And that is something that Captain Marvel did. So yeah, when you say that this, or that we're nitpicking and that we wanted this to fail about a movie, it wasn't until they released the marketing of this film, it wasn't until Brie Larson had opened her mouth that we wanted this movie to not do well. But masterful defense playing by Disney, because they got that movie up to $1 billion, even though it didn't earn it. Even though many of the movies in the comic or in the MCU wouldn't have made $1 billion if they didn't play ball with China either. I mean, Disney or DC just proved you can make $1 billion movie and not need China to do it. But that's a small digression, folks. The point is, Brie Larson's Captain Marvel was the most mistake-filled movie of 2019, and Endgame was a close second, with 51 or 59 with Captain Marvel, 51 mistakes with Endgame. And I gotta say, that's not good. But yeah, I'm actually happy to hear this news because I do want the MCU to fail, because they're pushing agenda in front of telling a good story. I know people that I'm close to are going to disagree with me, and you know what? That is okay. They're allowed to. I'm not going to tell them what to believe. But yeah, maybe if Disney and Marvel made movies that cared about the legacy of Stan Lee instead of pushing stupid political narratives in their movie, or identity political narratives, or gender politics, or whatever you want to call it, people would be more interested. It was already well established that if you do shows and movies with identity politics this year, people don't care anymore. It was a good fad early on, but it was a fad. It started to bleed away. Charlie's Angels, Terminator Dark Fate, Batwoman, Supergirl, all of them, very bad ratings. And they only have themselves to blame. As for Captain Marvel having all those mistakes, pretty bad errors if you ask me. I mean, music song or songbooks in the background that wouldn't be published for another decade, that's a serious mistake. And it's like, well, maybe you guys should have paid attention to that stuff instead of pushing a narrative. You see what I'm saying? Anyway, folks, that is the video. You all know the drill. Like, comment, subscribe, share, all that jazz. Let me know in the comments below what you think about this article. Do you think that We Got This Covered should probably be called We Hate Everyone? I mean, that's basically what kind of... They don't got anything covered. They just wrote this to basically bash on the people who didn't like Captain Marvel. Not because it was a female-led superhero movie, but because it was a bad movie objectively. Anyway, folks, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. This has been Orange Hat Reviews, and I'll catch you all on the next one.